Folks, Ethereum has got a big upgrade. Yes, it can upgrade its speed or TPS by a whopping 50%. Now, that might sound like a lot, but remember, you're starting off at 14 TPS. What's 50% on top of 14 TPS? It's a whole whopping 21 TPS. Oh my God, it's over. Ethereum is going to destroy all the other blockchains. Actually, no, it won't. I don't think this will actually affect it much. I do think more efficient Ethereum is going to be good for Ethereum users, but no one is rushing back from Solana with its thousands of TPS, or Sui, or Tron with its USDT, or BNB or TON to get back onto Ethereum. Why? Because Ethereum would have to go up to 10,000% for it to match any of those blockchains, and obviously can't do that. So Ethereum is still lagging behind, but this is a good first step for Ethereum. The EIP is EIP 7781, and it'll reduce block times from 12 seconds to 8 seconds, increase blob capacity, and make decentralized exchanges slightly more efficient. Keyword on the slightly there. Not saying it's going to be breakthrough, but slightly. And we all know from past bull runs that Ethereum's DEXs need to be more than just slightly more efficient. So it would slash block times on Ethereum by 33% and increase data capability, increasing overall through output by about 50%. You make the blocks bigger for more data. You slash the block time, so more blocks per minute, or blocks from 12 to 18, 8 to 12 seconds, or 12 to 8 seconds, and you have faster through output. So basically, in an October 6 post to X, pseudonymous developer Cigar said that EIP 7781 would be the first huge step toward improving base layer of the Ethereum network. And we all know that base layer really desperately needs improving because it is lagging behind everything else. So the big stats: 12-second block times to 8 seconds, 6 data blobs per block to 9 data blobs per block. DEXs become around 1.22x more efficient. 1.22, folks. That means a swap, instead of costing $100 when things are busy, is only going to cost $78. Congratulations, everyone. You can use those savings to buy yourself a few cookies. But remember, $78 is still a lot compared to other blockchains. Aside from increasing mainnet through output, the proposal also aims to distribute bandwidth usage over time, lowering peak bandwidth requirements without increasing individual block or blob counts. Ethereum Foundation researcher Justin Drake voiced his approval of the EIP on GitHub, saying that its immediate proposal aligned with some of the broader goals proposed by Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin and Ethereum scaling organizations. Drake claimed that reducing block times would see decentralized exchanges such as Uniswap v3 be 1.22x more efficient, and could save roughly $100 million in CEX/DEX arbitrage per year, and ultimately lead to better execution for users. And yes, users on Ethereum desperately need better execution. Last time we had blocks that were delayed for 3 weeks during the overall bull run because Ethereum got so slow. So basically, Justin Drake said this: "Thank you, Ben Adams, for pointing me to this thread. My initial reaction would be to support reducing slot times to 8 seconds for a few reasons. It increases through output by 1/2, an effective increase to a 45 million gas limit and a 9 blob limit. This roughly aligns with the proposed 40 million gas limit by pumpthegas.org and 8 blob limit by Vitalik and others. It opens the Overton window in favor of slot duration changes and would be a great warm-up for future slot duration decreases. It makes the slot duration a nice power of 2, aligning with the rest of the Beacon Chain programmers. It will make DEXs like Uniswap version 3 roughly 1.22 more efficient, saving roughly $100 million in CEX/DEX arbitrage per year, and ultimately leading to better execution for users. It will improve the UX of L1 contracts, reducing confirmation times by 1/3. Smoothing out peak load across more slots makes sense when execution clients largely set idle between block verification spikes." So a lot of improvements, and hopefully a good first step. It could actually increase the problem for stakers, though, because they would actually need more hardware to process the larger data blocks. But That really comes down to a problem with Ethereum's decentralization because it would actually lead to less stakers. But with the way that Ethereum is built, that you need like 32 Ethereum to become like a validator anyways, I'm not really sure how much decentralization they really plan on having in the future. Just kind of like, runs my mind when you have to have like 60 something thousand dollars at this point to actually become a hardware node. And that's why a lot of Ethereum staking comes in the form of large pools. They do need to work on the decentralization bit because they are kind of failing on that bit even right now, and making it even less decentralized would make even less sense. But sometimes you got to sacrifice for the sake of efficiency because we know that Ethereum is not very efficient. Crypto Bullrun seems to be back on track, at least in my opinion. 63,500 right now at the time of recording this video. It'll go in the morning, so maybe it'll be more and less by then. Basically, the only thing that could derail it right now, if it hasn't happened already by the time this video is is released, if Israel launches a massive attack. What spurred on this pump this weekend was obviously last week's good labor numbers, added 250,000 jobs or whatever, and basically, companies are making a lot of money. I think people are seeing that, the Fed and the economy is not falling apart like some doomsayers want to believe it actually is. Every time we have a little drop, we do bounce back really fast. And I think the markets are very positive. People are looking like, hey, we have all-time highs in the stock markets. The crypto markets haven't dropped through the floor. The unemployment rate's still low. And so people, I think, are gaining a little bit more confidence in the economy, and that the Fed has actually pulled off the soft landing. Plus, we actually have the elections coming up, and I think like the markets, even though they haven't priced in a Trump victory because it's very close, I think they leave that possibility open, not only in the crypto market, not only because of regulations, but because of this debasement trade. Trump advocates for a more isolationist stance with tariffs, and I think that does a little bit for like the currency debasement stuff. I think treasury yields will probably go up if he does that. I think it's like really horrible for the economy, by the way, overall, but it could actually pump crypto because I think like people will be looking for a more global asset in that case to actually store their money into if the U.S. is going to adopt a more isolationist policy. And Trump said he was going to tax countries like 200% or something, or tariff countries by 200% if they wanted to get rid of the US dollar. So other countries might be looking for other currencies to actually place their bets behind. And Bitcoin could definitely be one of those policies. Plus, deregulation, generally, at least in the short term, triggers the market to go up a lot. Eventually ends in disaster like 1929. Or like, 08 or something with like, Bill Clinton revoking some of the stuff for loans and stuff. So in 1929, obviously with the Great Depression, they just deregulated everything like crazy, and then everything just like went way up and then just basically fell apart. But in the short term, I do think it would actually result in somewhat of a market euphoria, and that will actually make crypto go up a lot too. So that's kind of like what people are actually saying what's going to happen. And I do think a lot of people believe the bull run is actually back on track. Even if Trump doesn't win, I think they see crypto and the market going up anyways. Harris brings a little bit more stability. She's more predictable in what she does. I don't think any of her unrealized gains taxes proposals are ever going to get through. There's too many Democrats that will actually block that in both the House and the Senate. And overall, I do think one brings a little bit of stability. The other is a lot of deregulation, introduce new tariffs, get rid of this tax and that tax. A lot of crazy stuff with Trump, but I think in the short run that would definitely help the markets. So they might be trying to get in for that pump as well. So that's going to be very, very interesting in terms of which economic policy actually gets implemented. And of course, we got to talk about the Satoshi reveal. We gotta talk about the Satoshi reveal on Tuesday with HBO. Now, everyone is saying it's Lynn Sassman or it's Hal Finney. And that definitely could be it. But what if it's not? What if it's way, way more sinister than that? What if they had a bunch of like FBI or CIA guys dressed up in suits, and at the end of the interview, after they made this whole thing about doing all the research of who Satoshi could be, they're like, we knew all along. It's these guys. And like the FBI, CIA agents come out like, yes, that's right. It was us all along. Y'all are our bitches now because we control you. We made you invest trillions of dollars in this asset. And now we control all of you. It's all tracked all the time with Bitcoin. Now, would that just make the entire crypto market just die, or would it make it soar? Because remember, this is like basically the government saying we are the ones that created Bitcoin, and if they created it and they can track it, they would probably support it as well. So that would make all the idealists sell, and they probably go home really, really sad. But I think some of the broader market might actually invest in Bitcoin now that they know that the government is actually behind it and will actually support it. Yeah, it would suck for them to be tracked, but now they just got this like fairly unregulated environment to actually invest in. And I think a lot of people would actually jump on that. Now, I think it'd still be a scam overall, but it would be something like that you could actually make a lot of money on. Do I actually think it's a 3-letter organization that made Satoshi or that made Bitcoin? No, I don't think so. The ethos of Bitcoin, the origins of how it came about, when it came about, and the fact that the government hasn't quite shut it down yet, I think like that bodes well for it actually not being a 3-letter agency, but a lot of people want to speculate that it is a 3-letter agency indeed. But if they reveal that, I want to see people's reactions. I want to see if it actually falls off the face of the earth or it soars to new heights, because either one could actually happen. You have mainstream investors that might actually want to buy in it, or you have the crypto idealists that would definitely want out of that point and maybe move to Monero. So Monero might actually stand to benefit from that if that happens. Very unlikely that's going to happen. I think they're going to say Lynn Sassman or Hal Finney, but it is something to actually think about, to wrap your brain around. Bitcoin, despite a bad Q3 and basically going back and forth for the past 6 months or so, has still been the best performing asset class of 2023, despite a weak Q3 and not a great Q2. If you look at year-to-date returns for 2024, Bitcoin is a whopping 49.2%. The next one is volatility. The next one is sector equities, utilities, and then silver, rounding out the 30s. And then when you get into the 20s, you have large cap equities growth, gold, sector equities communications, large cap equities core, sector equities financials, NASDAQ composite, stock equities, industrial sector equities, like technology, all of that stuff. So you can see Bitcoin outperforms the next one down by almost 20%. I don't really count volatility as really a sector. I think that's just like stock market financial products more or less. So the next sector down for me would be sector equities, utilities, and then silver after that, both at 30.6. Bitcoin's at 49.2, so it has 19.2 on them. People think gold went up by a lot. Yes, gold did go up by 20-something%, but nothing compared to Bitcoin, which appreciated 49.2%. So even in this year where people are really bitching about how crypto is slow, it's not doing anything, it's uninteresting, it is still by far the highest year-to-date returns, which shows that crypto people aren't really realistic about what asset classes can actually generate, or they just have too high demand for their crypto investment assets. So basically, factors influencing recent performance include continued demand from U.S. spot market trade spot ETFs, which garnered $4.3 billion in total flows for the quarter. There was also increased corporate ownership for people like MicroStrategy, because Saylor is always trying to buy more. But there is a growing correlation with stocks going up to 0.46. That's the R-squared value. If you don't know what that is, that's a statistical value. 1 is perfect correlation, but 0.46 has like some weak to mild correlation with the stock market. It has actually been correlating with the S&P a lot more than it has before, which means that Bitcoin is actually going mainstream and there are more mainstream investors investing in Bitcoin. And that is inevitable with it getting larger and larger. Saylor's been investing for a long time, but there are other people investing in Bitcoin as well. So like they're buoyed by the end of Q3 among political developments, including former President Donald Trump's embrace of the crypto industry, global monetary easing with the Federal Reserve cutting rates, and China's central bank introducing stimulus measures. And like I think it's further buoyed because Harris actually like seemed pretty okay with crypto as well, at least somewhat pro crypto. While both candidates will be improvements over the Biden administration regarding their attitudes for crypto, Trump, if he wins, will deliver bigger gains for the asset class given his full-throated endorsement of the industry, as C. Polaro wrote. But regardless of who wins, I do think crypto will actually go up and the regulations will be way better than the last 4 years. And remember, despite the regulations of the last 4 years, we still got 2 crypto ETFs and we still got FIT21 Pass. We actually did a lot for crypto in the last 4 years. So I do think a lot of people see a big Bitcoin breakout soon. I kind of see it too as we get into the end of this year. So yes, the Bitcoin bull run is back, and hopefully Satoshi's not revealed to be a 3-letter agency. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.